Hi, and welcome to another video. Today I thought I'd try something a bit different and chat to you whilst I'm painting on this piece. I'm not too used to chatting whilst I'm painting, as I usually work in silence, but I'll try my best to talk through the process of where I'm going to try and head with this painting. So I started this painting a few days ago and it's got the initial layers down, but now it's all about balancing the composition a bit more and bringing it to a point where I'm happy with it. So I'll talk you through the process of how I'm going to balance the painting, and I'll show you the materials that I'm using. It's basically mostly acrylic paint, and then I've got a few Neocolor 2 crayons as well. And hopefully it'll be a finished piece at the end, fingers crossed. So I'll show you my palette of colours that I'm using, and these are all System 3 acrylic paints. So I've got a titanium white, ultramarine blue, cadmium yellow, crimson red and Mars black. And these are just on the back of a glass chopping board. I find these really handy to use as palettes because they're so easy to clean afterwards. When the paint's dry you can just wash it off or scrape it off. So when I talk about balancing the painting, I'm sort of looking for areas of contrast and things that I don't like at the moment and things that I do like. So things that I do like is this strong vertical mark down here, so I want to start to emphasise that a bit more. I also like this thick black section here, but the things that I don't like are these two white marks at the side. They're very similar in shape, so they're not really doing much. So I think it needs to be a bolder white area here, so I'll give that a go. And I'm also not keen on this sharp edge here because it detracts from this strong vertical here, so I want to blend a bit more into this black area. So we'll give those things a try and then see where we get to. So I'm going to start by just scribbling some Neocolor 2 up in this area because I just want to change this bit. And then I think I'm going to apply a thick layer of heavy body white acrylic. And we'll see what that achieves. So this is being applied with a palette knife, so I can get like quite a lot of texture in here. I just love the effects you can achieve with a palette knife. It's not very precise, so you get very interesting marks. And it's sort of a happy accident, to quote Bob Ross. So then I think I'll smooth out a bit of this, because you don't want it all to be a very heavy texture. And there needs to be areas of contrast. I'd like to wash away a bit of this bit here. And perhaps do a bit of dry brushing over the top to blend it in a bit more. But so now I've made those two white marks that were originally here into one big bold white mark. I think that works a lot better because these were just two very similar shapes. Now it's more of an impact, and I like how I've brought some of the pink colour in here too, because initially there were just these two scratchy marks here. So I think I can work with that. And then the next bit that I didn't like was this here. And I think I'll try and use lightish blue, so it blends into that bit as well. So if we go with a bit of ultramarine blue, some of the white paint, and I might mute it down with a bit of the Mars black. I'm sorry, my cat's just arrived. She always does this as soon as I start painting. She's just interested in what I'm doing and she stands on the painting. Ah. Okay, I'm going to try and stop her from doing that. So I've mixed together some ultramarine blue, Mars black and white, and that's going in this area here. Sorry you can't see my palette, but my setup isn't wide enough. And then I'm going to scumble that into this area. So it's all about balancing different things and seeing what draws your eye, what doesn't, until you're eventually happy with how everything looks. So I'm a bit distracted by this mark at the top. I find it a bit unnecessary. I like this darker blue down here, but up here I'm not sure it's working very well because it's detracting again from this strong vertical mark. And I think I want to make a bit more of that, but I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do that yet. So I'll mix a bit more white in with that. So these are just going to be very loose brush marks. Yeah, I like that. And I really like that little area of texture that just pops in there. So we'll go with that. So with these, this is just a hardware brush, it's super cheap. And I just chop the ends off because usually they're about up to here. And I find it just gives you a bit more control over the brush then. It's not so floppy and you can scumble all the paint or dry brush all the paint really easily then. They're a bit annoying because sometimes, because they're quite cheap, the brush fibres do come loose, but you can just get rid of them quite easily. In fact, I think there's one there. Well, that might be the cat's. I definitely wouldn't recommend having a cat in the room whilst you're painting. I think I want to bring a bit more dark back in here because I've lost quite a big chunk of that area. And I also want to make more of this vertical, so I'm going in with the Neo colour, just scratching that down there. This was in the shade Salmon Pink. So to mix the dark together, I'm just going to use a bit of Mars Black and a very small amount of the ultramarine blue too. I think you can also make Payne's Grey with Mars Black and ultramarine blue. It does create a really lovely dark colour. And Payne's Grey is one of my favourites. So the paint's quite thick there. Maybe want to try a bit of a horizontal here. And we'll start to scumble that as well. I don't know if the word is actually scumbling or dry brushing. I think there's a difference between the two techniques. So I think I am just dry brushing. I think scumbling is where you sort of mix lighter pigments into darker pigments. The word scumbling is quite a nice word to say. This is where I just start fiddling a lot. Sometimes getting your finger involved is an easy way of doing it as well. So yeah, I think I'm quite happy with that. I definitely prefer this blurred edge than the line that I had before. And then you get this quite nice flow down here to a thicker area of black. Well, not black, but dark. So now in terms of balancing it again, it's always thinking about balancing contrasts. So here I've got light against dark, which I like. I've got vertical against horizontal, which I like. But there's something. I feel like this area is a bit, or it might be this area is a bit bland. And I think I need to add a bit of texture into here, or just vary the shade of blue a bit. So there might be some light brush marks in here that are more varied. So I think I'm going to mix up those two colours that I initially created. So the darker Mars black and ultramarine blue, and then the lighter, so that then I get a mid-tone between the two, and try some of those brush marks up here. It's all about experimenting, and like with acrylics, you can easily just layer back over the top when they're dry. I think I'm going to put a tiny little bit of cadmium yellow in there too to create a bit more of a greeny blue colour, because I've got this greeny blue colour down here, so I think it'd be nice to do it up here a bit as well. But I just don't want to detract from this strong vertical, so it may just be like a few strokes, or I may put them in vertically to sort of add to this. I don't know how easily this is going to work. I need to wet my brush a bit more as well because it's quite dry. Oh, sorry if you can hear my cat howling in the back. She's normally asleep now, so I was like, alright, I'll get a good painting session in before she wakes up, but nope, she woke up straight away. Ooh, I like that now that you can see that pink revealed underneath that paint as I've scumbled it off a bit. Ah, so yeah, I quite like that now. So you've got this line and this line, which are similar in tone. Strong area of white, strong area of black, dark blue. I love the texture in here and in here. Quite like these scribble marks. I think something down here isn't sitting quite right with me. I think it's when you can see like the texture of the paper through the paint. I feel like I haven't added enough paint there, so I'm gonna just go in with a thicker bit of paint and the palette knife, just sort of accentuate that vertical and also scratch into it. and scrape it back a bit as well. So I've just stood back from the painting, and although I do like this, I think it needs to fill this area as well, because I don't know, I just feel like it's a bit too unblended then. Yeah, so something a bit more like that. And then if I scrape it back a bit. With this brush. And perhaps back in with the neo colour, just to accentuate those marks again that we've lost. So now I've just mixed up some ultramarine and white, and I'm going to go against what I said, just plop that in here because I don't know, I liked it and now I don't, but we'll also accentuate this vertical down here. Okay, so now that's better. I don't know what it was, I think it was just, maybe that was too harsh of an edge, but now that I've blended these two colours together, I'm really starting to like it. And then a bit of the Caran d'Ache in sky, is it sky blue? Yep, sky blue. It's just this strong shape now that I'm not 100% sure on. Do I be? No. There's something about this bit that I really don't like now. Then I'm going to just drag that down. I know I've got a bit of white on the end too, but I think that could help as well. And then we can blend that down. Actually, I might just use a card to blend that down. So I've just got a card, which is my Architect's RIBA card, but don't tell them, to scrape that down. And then possibly just blur this edge with a bit of kitchen paper. That's quite interesting. Don't know if I like it. I like the idea, it's just not looking quite right. Oh, I just stuck my finger in the paint. just trying stuff and it's just not working. This is that moment. Just blend, blend, blend. Yep. Happy. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it at that. And just scribble a bit for the new colour. Down into all of this. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that actually. If in doubt, just scribble. Okay, so I think I'm happy with the piece now. I think I've balanced it a bit more. There's definitely areas of interest. You can pick at that texture there, this texture here, this strong vertical. And yeah, I think I'm happy with it. Stay tuned, I might change it in the next video, but we'll see. Thank you so much for watching.